Hi class, my name is Penelope Geiber and the other member of my group is Ryan Bierman, and today we will be talking about the prevalence of syphilis among African American men in the United States during the year 1990 to 2000. Okay class, so we're going to start with the introduction and what is syphilis. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted bacterial infection caused by Treponema pallidum that can be treated with antibiotics such as penicillin. It can be transmitted by coming in contact with syphilis kinkers, or also known as sores, through vaginal, oral, and anal sex. Syphilis is a curable infection but can cause serious health issues if left untreated, such as infection spreading to the brain and nervous system, causing arthritis, brain damage, and blindness. I'm going to be talking about the problem now. Although syphilis has been around for many centuries, it hit a new epidemic or outbreak during the 1990s in the United States, affecting African American males disproportionately. Looking at this next slide, there are two graphs provided. The first graph breaks down syphilis cases by race, and as you can see, African Americans were the most prevalent to contract syphilis compared to any other race. The second graph provided shows syphilis rates by gender, and as you can see, males had a higher prevalence rate than women during this time. Now going back to the previous slide, we will be talking about mortality rate, morbidity, and economic impact about syphilis. The national health objective for 2000 was to reduce syphilis mortality cases to 4 per every 100,000 people, when the incidence rate in the United States was currently at 3.2 per every 100,000 people. And this number was even much higher in southern states, accounting for 6.6 cases per every 100,000 people. Although African Americans still represented 90% of all reported cases during 1990 to 1999, the occurrence of syphilis in the population declined 88% due to contributing factors. Syphilis is an infection that develops in different stages, which requires different treatments depending on the severity. The cost of treatment within all stages of syphilis accounted for about $25.75 million during 1994. Syphilis treatment per person was about $506. I will now be talking about agent of disease. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted infection caused by the bacteria Treponema pallidum, like mentioned before. It is transmitted by coming in contact with syphilis sores. The infection has transmitted once T. pallidum has come in contact with mucous membranes causing the sores. Treponema pallidum is a spirochete bacterium sensitive to oxygen, which is why it cannot live outside the host for long. It varies from size from 6 to 15 micrometers long and 0.1 to 0.2 micrometers wide. It is a highly invasive pathogen in humans only. The bacteria is highly sensitive to penicillin, making this antibiotic the most effective to eradicate the infection. I am now going to be talking about the clinical symptoms of syphilis, which can appear in different stages. The first stage is primary stage, which occurs 3 to 12 weeks after an individual becomes infected with the disease. During this time, hosts are likely to form a canker sore, which could appear as a round, painless dermal opening. They can appear on and in the vagina, anus, scrotum, and penis. The next stage is secondary stage, which is when rashes may start to appear on one's palms and feet. These rashes usually do not itch and can come and go in cycles that last between 2 to 6 weeks. And on the image below, you can see secondary stage syphilis on the palms of the hands. The third stage is the latent stage. During this period, there are no visible signs or symptoms of syphilis. If treatment is not received, the infection continues to be in the body for years without any signs or symptoms. The final stage of syphilis is tertiary stage, and during this late stage, syphilis can cause tumors, blindness, and paralysis, as well as damage your nervous system, the brain, and other organs. This late stage occurs 3 to 15 years after being infected and when no treatment has been given. I am now going to be talking about how syphilis can be transmitted. First off, syphilis is transmitted via skin to skin contact of the anogenital regions. It can also be transmitted during oral sex, but is less than likely unless a sore is present. And lastly, syphilis can be transmitted from an infected mother to their child during pregnancy or childbirth. I am now going to be talking about syphilis prevention strategies that were used to lower the incidence rate. Although syphilis continues to be a problem, its incidence rate has gone down throughout the years due to investments in syphilis control programs. Primary prevention level was used by creating outreach and risk reduction programs to bring awareness of crack cocaine. This was an important issue to address in all communities because crack cocaine was exchanged for sex and was a major contributor to syphilis epidemic during this time. Secondary prevention level was also used by state and federal resources, which helped create more clinical services and community-based screening to help notify partners of syphilis transmission. Tertiary prevention levels was used by communities in low-income areas, which created more clinics to help treat syphilis. When someone was treated for syphilis, clinics provided risk reduction counseling to help educate prevention methods.